Well, hello and welcome to episode 120 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here as always with Michaela. And Michaela, last night we toasted, we celebrated, we cheers, we cried, you cried, we laughed, we got upset, we were happy. It was the Oscars 2023, the 95th Oscars.
95th. Oh, I feel about 95 this morning because I did not get enough sleep last night, but it
Today's
was a great
cocktail
night.
is a coffee.
That's right. This cocktail is definitely caffeinated. Yeah, no, it was amazing. I thought this was a resurgence of all things that we love about the Oscars. The Oscars were back in the big theater. They listened to us, listened to our feedback, and they put all of the awards back in, which was really great. They also put all of the performances, and we can talk about whether or not we liked that. It was really, really great. They had a beautiful, 100 years of Warner Brothers kind of vignette that we got to watch. And that was really neat. Of course, their memoriam, which we're going to talk about. But yeah, Oscars are back. And it felt different than it had done in the last couple of years because of this theater and the space and the fact that no one was assaulted. It's really good. Really good. Good on you, Oscars.
That's right. Yeah, we had a very traditional kind of a red carpet entry there. He had the full blown gala. It looked great. I don't know. It was nice to have the Oscars back in its full glory. It was nice to have all of the categories represented. It ran just shy of 4 hours, I think, but it didn't feel too long. It didn't really feel like it was dragging too much. They cut out kind of the skits and stuff they had last year, which was nice to get rid of those. I didn't care for those. And then, yeah, we had the party over at your place. You set it up all fancy like. You had red carpets coming in, which was awesome. You'd gotten the Oscar party pack direct from the Academy Museum store, which was pretty awesome. That had a banner. It had these amazing little stir sticks that were made out of solid gold. I don't know, they weighed a pound. I thought they were going to break my glass, but I thought they were pretty awesome. You got me a little tiniest Marcel the Shell. That was my prize. I didn't deserve a prize because I'm going to go ahead and get this right out of the way, Michaela. You crushed me this year. You absolutely demolished me. I was down for the count and you said no. You kept kicking me when I was down as we went through the categories last night. So hats off to you. We are 2-2 now. We are all square. So the 96 Oscars is going to be a bloodbath for us. I don't know. Maybe there'll be slaps for sure, but congratulations to you. Do you accept this Oscar in honor of your win? I guess.
I thanks. Yeah, no, I am really knocked out. This is probably why I loved them so much, is because pretty much everybody that I wanted to win won. So that felt really good. I feel like, we do some strategizing when we make these picks about who there's our favorites and then the people who we actually think are going to win. And this year, a lot of the ones that I didn't get right, that you did get right, I was so happy to be wrong. And we're going to go into it right now.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to go through all of the winners, talk about those. But, before we get into the Oscars, last night, we're drinking coffee, peek behind the curtain here. We're having coffee right now, but we're going to talk about the cocktails we had last night because there were a couple of good ones. So why don't we do this? Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back to chat about our Oscar night cocktails. So, Michaela, as I mentioned in the intro, you had the red carpet coming into your house for Oscar nights. So, what better way to get the party kicked off last night than with our red carpet cocktails? We actually mixed those up back in episode 119, but we did that Moe Golden Glamour. It was really delicious. A really good way to get the evening started. Get the red carpet, get the feel, get the glitz and glamour of the night going. But then it was time to turn it over to the Oscar night cocktails, and these were a couple of really good ones.
They were really good. We found these on Vegas Magazine, so you can Google that. But we did two because there's two of us, and why not at this point? So this first one is called the Best Picture Paloma. I really like that we did something a little bit different this year. So we did some sparkling stuff, but this has an ounce and a half of reposado tequila, which is really good. You're going to combine that in a shaker with half an ounce of beet and orange juice. You can find that at a store that serves fresh juices. Quarter of an ounce of grapefruit, half an ounce of lime, half an ounce of rosemary simple syrup. We're going to talk about how we make that in a minute. And then you're going to put that in a shaker pour it into a Collins glass with some ice, add an ounce of sparkling water on top, and then you can add a dash of salt water, and that and that's it. It's going to be amazing. We garnished it with a dehydrated orange and a rosemary sprig to make it look real fancy. It is bright red because of that beet orange juice. Really, really beautiful cocktail. Very different than some of the champagne style stuff that we've done for
Mhm.
the Oscars, but I really liked this one. Now let's talk a little bit about that rosemary simple syrup. I felt very fancy because not only did I do the dehydrated oranges myself, and I created a whole TikTok about that. You can go look at it. The rosemary simple syrup is actually really simple. You take a couple sprigs of rosemary, you put it in your sugar and water mixture, and you bring it to a light boil, like very light, because you don't want to burn the sugar. So you do that for about 5-10 minutes, and that's enough. That's all you need. And then you just strain it, put it into a glass container and chill it, and you can use it for a couple of weeks. I thought that I was going to have to do some infusing of the rosemary over days and days and days. You don't have to do that. Just heat it up. It takes very little time, and it adds a really beautiful sumptuousness to the cocktail itself. And the when you put the sprig, you can kind of inhale and smell the rosemary and then taste it in your mouth. It's really lovely.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. We wanted to do something here that called on some Don Julio Reposado tequila, which was the official spirit of the Oscars this year. So we wanted to do that. And yeah, this is really good. A Paloma, just a basic Paloma is, one of my favorites because I really like grapefruit juice. But this was really interesting. Had that, kind of beet orange juice, kind of lushness to it. Now you might say, beet orange juice, what is that? I'm never going to find that. Am I going to have to make that? No. Weird thing is apparently your grocery store makes it for you very randomly. I don't know, but that's pretty good. And then yeah, that salt water, you're just going to use a drop or two of that, like a little saline solution. You can just combine some water and salt until that salt dissolves in there. You just going to put a drop in there. Think of it as like an ingredient, like when you're baking a cake, you put a pinch of salt in there because it kind of sets off the flavors. That's the same thing here in this cocktail because there's some different layers of different fruits and acidities from those fruit juices and things. So it kind of makes that pop. So you want to make sure you put a dash of that in there as well. And yeah, just enjoy this one. This one I liked a lot, Michaela. This was pretty good. This was the first one we did of the evening. It's gorgeous looking. It's this kind of lush purple from that beet juice coming through there. The tequila paired really well with those fruit juices, I thought. What did you think about this one?
Yeah,
You
I
did all the
loved it.
hard work, but what do you think?
I loved it. I thought it was a nice change, and it was really good um, to start off with something with bubbles because it's sparkling water in it, so it has a little bit of bubbles in it, but it wasn't it wasn't like a dry brute tasting. So this was a really kind of breath of fresh air when it came to Oscar night. But I really did like it. I liked that it kind of reminded me, because it's a tequila drink and it's got some of that acidity in it, kind of reminded me of like it's called a Paloma, right? It's a Best Picture Paloma. It wasn't as sour as I thought it was going to be, though. And I
hmm
think that was because we only used a little bit of the grapefruit juice and just a dash of the salt water, but it really cut into that tequila really lovely. This is a good one. This is a good one. It's got a lot of ingredients, so I don't know if this is going to be like a Tuesday night thing for me, but I
Right, yeah.
definitely think as the heat as things warm up in the world, and we get to summer, this is a great like sitting by the pool kind of cocktail if you're going to have some sort of fancy if you're going to have some fanciness, because it's very fancy looking. It's very, very drinkable. It's completely accessible and it's easy to do. If I could make this stuff, anybody can. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, brings a little fanciness to that typical Paloma. That was a good one. And then to follow up with that, we did another sparkling cocktail, some sparkling wine. This one calls for Prosecco. This is called Meet Me at Dusk. This one's really simple and a really simple way to jazz up your sparkling wine, your Prosecco, your Cava, your champagne, whatever you want here. But this one's pretty simple. Into your glass, you're going to do an ounce of limoncello, half ounce of maple syrup, and then just top your glass off with some prosecco. I think the prosecco has a little bit of sweetness, which is nice. It's a little bit on the sweeter side because limoncello has a little bit of sweetness, obviously the maple syrup, but some nice kind of depth of flavor there from that maple syrup to cut against kind of the sweeter note of that limoncello. This was really good, Michaela. We did a couple of champagne cocktails, obviously for the red carpet, but this one was nice. It just kind of jazzed up. Normally we'll just have a bottle or two of some champagne or something like that, but it was nice to have a little bit of different flavor to kind of change it up. So you could have a glass of your regular sparkles, but then something like this, just a little bit more character to it. But this one was pretty good. I like this one too.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, we poured it directly into our glass. The only thing that I would say is I probably would have stirred the limoncello and maple syrup up a little bit. And so when we went for our second round of these, that's what we did. And to me, it just mixed much better. The maple syrup, if you're going to use really good maple syrup, don't use like the pancake syrup. I get like 100% real maple syrup. That's going to help with the viscosity because it'll be thick, but it won't be too thick. But you're definitely going to want to mix it so it doesn't kind of conglomerate at the bottom. So this was really awesome. I don't know why they call it Meet Me at Dusk because the Oscars didn't start until like really late for us, and then it ended at dusk the next day. It was the longest Oscar of our lives.
Dusk in Hollywood, maybe.
Yeah,
It was dusk in
maybe,
Hollywood, I guess.
maybe
Yeah.
it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't have any idea. I don't know, but this was
right.
a really good one, and this one I would do on like a random Tuesday night, right? Because it's 3 ingredients. It's super easy to put together. The only problem is that it's Prosecco, which means I have to open a bottle, which means I need to drink the entire bottle. Right.
That's I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You can get those stoppers, put one of those in there, but something you should do. Everyone should just have a bottle of limoncello in their freezer all the time because limoncello is delicious. So those were the cocktails we got up to. Maybe there's a bonus cocktail in here we'll talk about as we go through our Academy Award winners. So winners, Michaela, let's get into that. So why don't we take a quick break? We're gonna probably going to go brew up another pot of coffee because there were a lot of these Best Picture Palomas last night. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back to run through this year's winners.
Spoiler warning for the Oscars. A bunch of people won, and we're going to talk about it. So if you've not seen the Oscars and you're hoping that we're going to hold all those secrets, I don't know what you're doing on this podcast because we're definitely going to talk about it. Now, it is worth saying that if you had Fubo or Hulu, they recorded it and you can rewatch the Oscars if you want to go and see all of the amazing acceptance speeches, because I think this year the acceptance speeches are absolutely amazing. I don't know if any one of them was boring or they were all great. So if you're going to do that, awesome. But we're going to talk about everything, everywhere, all at once, winning a whole bunch of stuff. So
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. It did win a bunch of stuff. So, Michaela, we mentioned at the top, it felt very much like a return to form for the Oscars. It felt very classically Oscars again last night, which was nice. Had kind of the red carpet there was broken out into a couple of different sections. So got some interviews, got some fashions. I don't. What were your thoughts kind of the fashions? Everyone seemed to be, there wasn't anything like too like wacky and off the wall. It seemed like everyone was playing it pretty straight. Most of the men were just wearing kind of a regular tuxedo sort of get up. Anything stand out in terms of like the dresses or any of the fashion choices, Michaela?
Yeah, there were a few. Let's see. Who did I love? I mean, I always love Florence Pugh. I thought her choice of dress was really like, it had these poofy sleeves and it was like this really beautiful champagne color with like this very short skirt, black skirt thing under it. So she, had this kind of I don't know, umpire waisted thing with some leg. It was really interesting. I thought Rihanna looked amazing. I want to say white was the color. That's what we kept hearing because a lot of people were wearing white. Michelle Yeoh looked like an angel from above. She had this like very sequined kind of flapper-ish.
She is an angel from above.
She is an angel. I mean, so she was just being herself. But it was very beautiful, like white, lots of layers and ruffles. There was a lot of femininity around some of the dresses. Lady Gaga, I think, she wore this incredibly bold choice. And I mean, we could all wish that we looked as great as she does in like see-through boning bustier
Mm-hmm.
things. She's in this dark, like black sheer kind of bustier with a drop waist that was silk or satin all the way down. And she had these bright red lips. So she was very like severe and fierce looking, and
Mm-hmm.
which was amazing because she took all of that off and was makeupless in jeans and a t-shirt when she performed, which I thought was also really a bold move and a bold choice. So yeah, those are my standouts, I think. And the men wore a lot of tuxedos, and apparently I don't know the difference between a tuxedo and a suit. So
That's
what
right.
do you
Yeah.
think? What were your favorites?
Yeah. I thought it was very much just kind of a return to classic, very much kind of like the award ceremony itself. Like I said, it was just a lot of very lovely dresses, nice tuxedos. It felt like everyone was not playing it safe, because certainly the fashion was there, but it felt very much like everyone was just, wanted to kind of return to form, right? I think, once we get to the 96th Oscars, I think the fashions will go back out into more daring sort of territory. But yeah, I thought that they looked great. The ones that we saw kind of on the red carpet featured there were wonderful. And then we get into the award ceremony. Jimmy Kimmel is back, as we mentioned last week. This was his third roll of the dice here as Oscar host. Back again. And I have to say, Jimmy Kimmel, well done, sir. Well done.
Well done indeed. I have to say that his opening act was probably the most enjoyable one that I've had since Billy Crystal
Hmm.
did the last one. I mean, it's been maybe 10, I mean, it's been a long time since I felt that the opening kind of introduction to the Oscars was both like serious and paid homage to nominees and was funny and got some weird uncomfortability out of the way and like just brought it all together in a really, and didn't make fun of people nearly
Hmm.
as much, like in a mean way. Like I thought it was really well done. I really enjoyed the intro. So if Jimmy Kimmel, if you wrote that, great job. Great job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was really well done. He popped out a couple of times to do a little bit of kind of stand upness, but there weren't like the bits that we saw last year, which was nice. I was happy to get rid of those. It seemed like it stayed pretty much on track. I still think there's some room for improvement on ways they could probably streamline things a little bit, but like I said, it didn't ever feel really like it lagged too much. I do have kind of one. I don't know if it's even a complaint, because this is really a double-edged sword for me, Michaela, because I really like seeing the performances for the best song. I thought last night, I thought all the performances were really good. I thought they all did an amazing job. Of course, Natu wins the Oscar there, which was really neat to see. But I don't know. On one hand, I like seeing them, and I think that they're great. But on the other hand, it kind of feels like they're pulling the brakes on the award show, kind of when they come out. I don't know. I don't know how to handle it better. I don't. Maybe they put them like in the pre-show there. I don't know, because you don't see other performances. We talked about this last night. You don't have Colin Farrell go up to reenact scenes from Banshees of Inisherin, right? So why do we do the songs? I don't know. It's an entertaining thing, I guess, but I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about the performances last night?
Oh, the performances were great. I mean, it was very hard to. We had already made our Oscar picks, but it was very hard to pick based on the performances themselves. I thought Lady Gaga was amazing. Rihanna, just a vision as well. And then Natu, so fun. It they were all great, but I understand where you're coming from, because it does add a good amount of time, because
Hmm.
when you got five of them and they're like 3 minutes each, I mean that's a lot of extra time. But I also thought that they paid because they're 10 Oscar nominated best pictures films and they have to like introduce each of those. I thought that was more jarring for me. But I guess they have to do that because people hadn't seen them. And if you haven't seen all 10 of them, you're going to get lost at the end of the award ceremony and kind of knowing what these films are about. So I don't know how I would prefer them to do it. I like seeing the performances, but
Hmm.
it does add extra time. And then if the
Yeah.
performances aren't good, we've definitely seen some in the past couple of years where we were like, oh, okay, well, that did not go well. So when that happens, it's a total downbeat in the entire night. So yeah, I don't know how they're going to solve that problem. I was kind of glad that they put them back in because I like to see them, but it
Hmm.
also, I just got to realize that I don't know why they say this is going to be a 3 hour show. It's never a 3 hour show. It is a 4 hour show. And sometimes it's a 4.5 hour show. It is longer than RRR. And we just need to accept it and move on.
And just
That's
just live with it, just move on. I will say they didn't have a song that wasn't even nominated, like when they did we don't talk about Bruno anymore,
right.
like a couple of years ago. But yeah, they were fun to see. I thought they were all really well done, and then we had the award itself. And we don't want to have a 4 hour show here, Michaela, talking
Great.
to our listeners out there. So let's get into this thing. Who won the award? So let's start off here. We've got the best original screenplay and adapted screenplay. Original screenplay, the Daniels, Daniel Kwan, Daniel Scheinert for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Sarah Polley takes it for Women Talking, her second in that category. Any thoughts here about the screenplays? I know this is one of your favorite categories here.
It is, and I was really glad. If anybody previously listened when we did our you picks, you
Previously on Drink the Movies.
that's right. You had said that I could kind of change my adapted screenplay because I had picked All Quiet on the Western Front, and then but I had not seen Women Talking yet because it hadn't come out. I did see it. I didn't change my. I didn't change my.
You were this close.
I was this
You were
close.
this
I was.
close. Yeah.
Yeah. When they started going through the nominations, I was like, oh, I should have changed it, and I didn't. But I'm glad to be wrong because I was so glad to see Sarah Polley actually take this one home. It was really, really cool. Everything Everywhere All at Once, to me, it's like not a no brainer because all of them were amazing. All of the screenplays were great, but I mean, it's such a original story, just
Hmm.
really cool. So glad to see. And this was kind of in this. These awards happened a lot later than they normally do. They're usually the first one or two that are done at the beginning of the awards show, and they were
Hmm.
done much later. And so by that point, the Daniels had won a lot, so it was good to see them back up on stage again.
That's right. Yeah, well done there to them. Sarah Polley, that film is excellent. It's available to check out now, and you should because the writing on that is phenomenal. What do we got next, Michaela?
We have the best visual effects and best sound. I feel like these are always kind of shown together, and they. I don't remember. I think they were shown together when they came out, and that was a different change actually because they would have dual presenters come out and talk a little bit, and then give out the nominations and awards for like back to back. So they did that
Hmm.
with Best Actor and Best Actress. And they did that with visual effects and the screenplays as well. I thought that was a really nice way to keep things moving.
Hmm.
But this Best Visual Effects, no surprise that Avatar: The Way of Water took that Oscar home. I was really glad to see that we were all correct. James Cameron wasn't there, but Sigourney Weaver and a couple other members of the cast were, and that was really good to see. And of course, Top Gun Maverick taking home Best Sound, kind of an upset for me. I was surprised, but pleasantly so on
Hmm.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were
Yeah.
your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. The visual effects category, I really liked. I think that they did a good job of kind of highlighting the aspect of the film as they went through the awards. So best visual effects was neat because they were showing, kind of like some of the behind the scenes, and obviously a lot of it was, CGI as they were building in, the world of, All Quiet on the Western Front, stuff like that. But getting to see kind of the behind the scenes and what the people are actually doing to make the film look that way, I thought that was a really nice way to highlight it there. Of course, Avatar was going to win that one. Best sound, Top Gun Maverick. It sounds great. Of course, you gotta sync those fighter jets up, as they're flying across your TV screen there. So make sure that sounds good. It's very visceral sounding, and yeah, kudos to the team there on that one. So what do we got next? We got a couple of short films here. Let's see. We've got the best live action short film and the best animated short films, Michaela. So best short film live action. Taken by An Irish Goodbye. That was your pick there. Really well done. A little bit longer than the other ones, so told a little bit more of a complete story, I think, but really well deserved. That was one of the highlights. All of the speeches really were highlights, but that one was lovely, as it brought, kind of the cast up, the whole auditorium sang happy birthday to that guy there. I'm going to look up his name while you talk about An Irish Goodbye and our winner there for the animated story.
Yeah. Yeah, Irish Goodbye was I picked it because I thought it was a much more complete story and it was longer. It was great to see it win. I really enjoyed watching the best short animated film win as well. We both picked The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And so I was glad to see them take that one home. Again, the speeches were so great because you had both these two really lovely gentlemen that were just very kind to each other. You would expect nothing else from people who made the film The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, because it basically is 35 minutes of a giant hug with a cup of tea and
With a
like
cup of
love
tea and a cake and a cake
and a
and
cake.
yeah. And happy birthday, belated happy birthday to James Martin, who played Lorcan in the Irish Goodbye. Really, really great story. I don't know if that's available to stream anywhere, but hopefully it is, because I think everyone should watch it. Is a really good one. And then yeah, Boy the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. That was our picks there. Like you said, it's just a little animated hug. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel optimistic about this world, and we could all use with a little bit more optimism from time to time.
That's right. That's right. Moving on to production design. This was interesting because I think both of us got this wrong.
Most
Did we?
most people got it wrong. Only three people in our whole pick'em got this one right. But good job to those of you that did. It was All Quiet on the Western Front. We talked in our pre-show about how it was probably warranted because there was a lot of scope and scale and intimacy designed into All Quiet on the Western Front, and yeah, took the prize, one of four for the German film there. So yeah, well done. It wasn't a surprise when they announced it, but it wasn't our pick for sure.
No. So that was really awesome. And then we moved into best original song. We talked already a little bit about this. Natu took it away with RRR, and I was so glad to see that because the RRR had not been nominated because it wasn't submitted for best foreign film, but the film itself, it's very, very long, and I will tell you, but it is on Netflix and it is worth your time. I really, really loved this. It was a very big surprise. I have to say, when I finally got myself to sit down and watch it, and the song is really great too. So
the song is great. The choreography on the performance was great. It's worth having the extra 15 minutes in the show for the songs, I guess, if you get something really fun and awesome like Natu. That was great. So happy to see that one win. And then for best original score, we had this one was a little bit of a surprise, I think, to a lot of people, but All Quiet on the Western Front. It was not a surprise to you, Michaela, because you picked this one. I did not, but Volker Bertelmann was the big winner here for the original score in our films this year.
Yeah, yep. Again, I love the score. The very first kind of big horns, I probably totally screwed that up, but like that came in the first like 5 minutes of the opening, and it's haunted me since. I mean, totally. To me, it was awesome. So really excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked that. We talked a little bit about that, and I kind of likened those three notes to more of like the soundscape of the movie as opposed to the score for it, which is probably why I didn't pick it. But yeah, that kind of little 3-beat thing is very jarring, and then as it gets integrated into that, we talked about that on our Patreon little bonus episode as we went through the Best Picture nominees. But yeah, very well warranted. Plays a very important role, just kind of those three notes. It's very akin to Close Encounters, right? As that soundscape, those notes
Absolutely.
is, very, very vital. Let's do one more here, and then we're going to take a quick break to mix up another cocktail, Michaela, because we had a bonus one last night, and we're going to get a bonus one today. But before we do that, best makeup and hairstyling. We picked The Whale. The Whale was the winner, of course. Brendan Fraser made up to the nines to play that role and played it pretty well. Spoiler warning, but best makeup and hairstyling. This one can be tricky from time to time, but I don't know. a lot of good picks this year. But I think the whale.
Yeah,
Good job, team
yeah,
from the whale.
yeah. Good job, team from the whale. I think last year, the Eyes of Tammy Faye won, and I did not pick that because I picked something else. But then I realized that the whole film doesn't work unless the hair and makeup is correct. So that's going to be my kind of strategy going forward. And that's basically why I picked the whale. And so yeah, it was really beautiful. That I love the time that they did spend showing for each of the films the work that had to go into the makeup and hairstyling. It wasn't a lot of time, but
Hmm.
it probably added a couple of minutes to the nomination kind of spiel listing out all the nominees, and I think that's really helpful, because a lot of times when we're trying to pick something, we don't know if, for example, if something is special effects or if it's the set design itself. So that's kind of nice to see. And help us, understand as viewers the art form itself and the work that goes into it and why it's so special. So
Right. Yeah, and it was kind of interesting kind of as they showed and went through the nominees, but they were showing, the team there for the whale, basically designing his costume like on the computer, right? To get his the way that he was going to look, having all that extra weight added on before they, actually started, practically making it for him to win. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and I love seeing kind of some behind the scenes stuff on that. And behind the scenes for our Oscar party, Michaela, we weren't done with two. We had a third cocktail because, as I mentioned, Don Julio was the official liquor of the 95th Oscars, and we had a bottle, and we decided that we needed to do something else. So, Michaela, you found a recipe which is based off of one of my favorite recipes, the Negroni. But this is a tequila-based Negroni, Michaela, and it was a tasty one.
it was pretty good. Yeah, I thought to myself, what could we do with Don Julio Reposado? And myself said, Brian likes Negronis. No, that's not really what happened. It was a total fluke finding this, but I'm so glad we did, and I'm so glad that we had the three ingredients that we needed to be able to do it. So you're going to take 1.5 ounces of your tequila. We recommend Don Julio's Reposado tequila. You're going to add that to 1 ounce of sweet vermouth. Sweet vermouth, that is not the same as dry.
That's right. Yeah, sweet,
Not the
or
same.
sometimes called red vermouth, but yeah, sweet vermouth. Yep.
Yes. And then another ounce of Campari, or I guess you could use Aperol. We didn't have either. You had picked this really beautiful bottle for last year's Oscar. And
Hmm.
what was it called again?
Yeah, so it's from Leopold Brothers, which is based out of the U.S. here, but it was an Italian aperitivo liqueur. You notice them right away because they are this beautiful ruby red hued liqueur. Just akin to a Campari. It's really bitter. Um, Drink Campari is very bitter elixir, but I absolutely love it. I'm a big fan of bitter tastes, and this one's one of my favorites.
Yeah, no, and it was really beautiful. I I like a Negroni, but sometimes I can only do like one because it gets very bitter. This was the same because I really enjoyed the one, but I don't think my tongue cheeks could take the sourness of the next one. So I only had one of these, but it was really tasty and it was really nice. The tequila adds just a different level than what you would
Mhm.
normally, taste. So it was kind of a sweeter. Is that right? Sweet and sour
Mhm.
at the same time. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that tequila brings a little bit of sweetness to it. A standard Negroni is made off of with gin is the it's not really a base because it's equal parts, but yeah, the tequila added a little bit of kind of that agave sweetness to it, a little bit of that character from the reposado, that that aging there that it gets, and yeah, it was just a really nice, really nice flavor profile. So definitely give that one a try if you're so inclined. And I don't know, Michaela, let's get back to our awards now. I'm cocktailed up. I drank my coffee. I'm mostly recovered. I'm gonna go mix up a Negroni while you go through this next category here.
all right. Well, just in time for Best International Feature Film. So this um, This was really tough because there were so many amazing films this year, but we were all right. Everybody picked this. All Quiet on the Western Front totally cleaned it this year. And it was beautiful. I loved the acceptance speech for this. I thought it was really very, very humble and very sweet. And the it was really good. I was so glad that All Quiet on the Western Front received all the accolades that it did. So it did really well. What were your thoughts? I mean, I don't think anybody was surprised at this.
Yeah, it's hard to pick something else when it's also nominated for Best Picture of the year to see winning. But I know one of our favorite films from this past year, Close, was nominated. We both talked about how much we loved Argentina. Just all the nominees this year were really good, and I always really like the international feature film category because it gets you to watch things that you wouldn't have normally watched. Maybe I would have watched All Quiet on the Western Front. It was available on Netflix as a story I was familiar with. I might have watched that at some point, but I wouldn't have watched any of those other ones. So I'm glad that, the Oscars, spurs you on to do things like that and, expand your horizons, which is pretty fantastic. So All Quiet on the Western Front there picks it up. And we're going back to another one that was picking up awards left, right, and center. That is for best film editing, everything, everywhere, all at once. We talked, Michaela, that the editing of this movie was almost like a character in and of itself. And kudos to the team there. What are your thoughts about the pick here?
I was not surprised. I think we both picked this because you could not have watched this film without really beautiful editing that was both smart and really heartfelt, I feel, because there's so much going on, and being able to really understand the storyline and knowing what universe we were in and what time we were in and all of that was really important. So no surprise for me there. I really was really glad to see that we were right. We were right on this one.
We were right. Yeah, the editing and everything everywhere all at once is almost perfect, almost to a fault, because it gets right up on that edge where you are about to be real confused, but somehow they manage to reel you back in every time. They let you have that little pit of fear in your stomach that this isn't going to make sense, but they pull you back in every time, and pulling you into some good stories. Michaela, we've got some documentaries on our docket here, best documentary, short film, and feature film. So short film, Elephant Whispers was the big winner there, and for the feature film, Navalny, very not a good tale, but very important tale, for sure. And the Elephant Whispers, love that, uplifting. I love my animal stories. Good job, Elephant Whispers. What are your thoughts about the documentaries this year?
So I got the short film wrong, but I was glad to get it wrong because that story is really lovely. I thought it was very uplifting, very sweet. Animals are great, and the work that's being done in India around preserving the elephants is really important. So I loved that. Navalny, I picked that, and I was really surprised that I won, just because you, Brian, are kind of my go-to expert when it comes to documentaries, because you've seen so many more than I have. I watch documentaries, but I never really got into them until the Oscars, and then I would only watch the ones that were nominated. That's changed in the last couple of years, but when we had talked about this before, I think you had picked.
Yeah, I picked Fire of Love for
That's
my
right.
feature.
That's right.
To no avail because Navalny. Like I'd mentioned, Navalny is a really important story. It's important to it's important to the whole world. I think
Right.
that
Yeah.
that stories like this are told and exposed and things like that. And yeah, the Elephant Whispers was just a really nice little short documentary. Loved that one too. But that wasn't my pick. I was over 2 on documentaries. Stick a sword in me. I am done for documentaries. I guess I've lost my luster on documentaries. I don't know for sure, but we were kind of all over the board here. These ones really kind of split up our Oscar pick'em was really kind of split over
Yeah.
the course of these, but both great stories, important stories. So glad to see those two take home the trophy.
Yeah. And absolutely, when Navalny won, I loved seeing Navalny's wife be on stage and send out a message, because again, this is something that is really happened. It's very recent. And so
It's still happening.
it's still happening right now, and people need to pay attention. So I thought that was really wonderful. So that she was able to do that, and also incredibly sad and heartbreaking that it even has to happen. So, moving on to best directing, best director. So we can talk about snubs and stuff at a later time, but I thought that this was a really interesting. The people in the nomination were really interesting. I think we both picked. And we're wrong, because I think we both thought that it was Steven Spielberg's year, just because it's Steven Spielberg and he's amazing. But we were wrong. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once totally took it away. The Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert got back on stage to thank everybody again and just say the most wonderful things. And I loved them. I was so happy for them that they won. And one of the things that I saw too was they panned out to all the different people that were there for Best Director, and they gave standing ovations, and that was really great to see the accolades given to them. So that was really cool.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they wrote the best story and therefore directed the best story. Yeah, I kudos to you. I'd mentioned it there with the editing. The directing is a vital part of that. You have to, you are laying a lot of stories and timelines down in that story. So to be able to weave your way in and out and around this multiverse as brilliantly as they did, very well warranted there for them, for Everything Everywhere All at Once for best directing. What do we got? Costume design, Michaela. This is another one that we missed on, but maybe that was rightfully so. We've got Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I'm not sure. I need to look it up. Maybe you just did. I think that it is. Pretty sure. 99% sure. But it is the same winner from the first Black Panther
Yes.
film. So it takes home the second trophy in the same film franchise. So what do you think? Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, costume design? You can't hate on it. It's good. Good stuff.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I immediately regretted my decision once I picked Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. I really love that movie, and I thought the costumes were great. But talking more analytically with you about it, it seems like creating costumes that are inspired by other things is probably harder than recreating ones that already existed. And
Unless
so
you do Victorian England, you win the Oscar, but otherwise.
Oh, I guess that's true. But I thought this was a nice, I think this was okay. I still feel kind of like Everything Everywhere All at Once had so many crazy costumes that they could have edged out and taken it home. But I love that Black Panther Wakanda Forever got some love, because they did not anywhere else. They didn't, I don't think they think this was the only Oscar that they won. Spoiler warning. So glad to see that they did that. And I love the woman, Ruth Carter. She her acceptance speech I thought was really gracious, and she's just amazing. And I was so glad to see her. And I love the color she was wearing. She was wearing like this radiant canary gold yellow dress. It was probably something she designed herself, and that's always something, right? They better look amazing. Every costume designer who wins better look awesome when they go to collect their trophy.
That's right. And I really liked they had the costumes kind of on stage and behind the presenters there from each of the nominated films. So that was a pretty cool little touch there, I thought. So good job, Oscar producers there. What do we got next, Michaela? We're going from costumes to cinematographers, and Best Cinematography award goes to All Quiet on the Western Front. It is vast and intimate and gorgeous looking. We mentioned in the pre-show that we watched it on Netflix. We watched it at your house, which has a very nice home theater set up there. But that couldn't even do it justice, because we saw it then on the actual big screen, the preview for it. And I'd forgotten, even on your impressive setup, just how vast the scope of this thing was, and how tightly saddeningly intimate that it was.
Yes.
As well. It's beautiful stuff. No surprise to me here. All Quiet on the Western Front. But what'd you think about this one?
I had picked this. I believed in it from the beginning. I was really glad to see it win. I've done a lot more research in the last few years about what cinematography is and what it isn't. And 1917 also won best cinematography, so I feel like that was the only thing that I was worried about, was that we were giving into the quote unquote war film cinematography kind of,
Hmm.
that it's really hard to watch, so it's obviously it's gonna be great. But I think for what took this one away was, like you say, the vastness, but also some of the really tight shots that were very, very intimate and sweet and saddening. This did both, and so it definitely, yeah, it was striking, and I was so glad to see it win.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the winner there. What do we got winner wise for best animated feature film? Michaela, no surprise here to us. That is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Edged out our favorite little shell, Marcel the Shell. You got me, Marcel the Shell, though. So he's going to be my little buddy, sitting on my desk forever now to console me and remind me that it's okay.
That's right. Yeah. I love Guillermo del Toro's speech at the end, when he got, and he let other people talk first, which is great. That's so gracious, because he's won some Oscars before, so that was really nice. And I think we talked about this. He is the very first director to have a Best Animated Feature Film, as well as taken home a Best Director Oscar for a non-animated film. So really special.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Guillermo del Toro ticks a lot of boxes out there, and dips his toes into a lot of different things and different stories. And I his version and telling of Pinocchio is beautiful. We talked about it on an episode. I really really liked it, and unfortunately at the expense of Marcel the Shell. But you know what Marcel the Shell would tell us? He would say, "Good job, Pinocchio. I loved your movie because Marcel the Shell is the best." And now we are into not the big ones. We said that last week. These aren't the big ones, but if you go to Google right now and type in Oscars, you're going to see who won these next five Oscars. So go ahead, Michaela, lead the way here as we go through our
All
big
right.
ones.
So best actress in a supporting role. This could have been anybody's game. There were so many amazing nominees. But Jamie Lee Curtis took it home, our scream queen from Halloween. Who would have thought that she finally got an Oscar? And she didn't believe it either. Her acceptance speech was so sweet. And she was so emotional and so overwhelmed. And it was really beautiful to see that she tried to extend this and say that it's not just her. So that was really great, because it's kind of hard, since she had made Everything Everywhere All at Once with Stephanie Sue, who was also nominated. And so you always feel like maybe there's a bit, I mean, because there's a healthy competition, but also that could get in the way of a friendship that might be there if you work together for a really long time. And but it looked like that didn't happen. Stephanie Sue looked really pleased for Jamie Lee Curtis, which is great. So really
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Her acceptance speech was beautiful and heartfelt and moving as she kind of broke down with the weight of the night kind of came in and started sinking in on her. I loved her kind of reaction thing she posted on, I think it was on her Instagram, when she found out that she got nominated and how excited she was for that. And yeah, to take home the trophy. And I mean, yeah, you have to say all the performance here and this one were great, but Jamie Lee Curtis lays it to bear in that role, for sure, for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So impressive stuff there. Let's switch it up to the actors in a supporting role here. We're going to give our award to Short Round, of course, has on his slick shoes, maybe. I don't know. But Kei Kwan, Everything Everywhere All at Once is the winner. So happy. Like I was so happy seeing his red carpet speech. He was overjoyed. He's like a little kid up there. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was great. Talks about dreams, talks about how he always wanted to, this was just a dream come true, and this is an American dream. He's just such a breath of beauty and love, just beaming on that stage, and it was really lovely. And you're right, he was that person during the red carpet, which is ours. People were kind of trying to press him and say, hey, do you have a speech? And he's like, I'm just going to live in the moment. I'm just going to live in the moment. And he really did. And so great. And that performance, if you have not seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, spoiler warning, we're going to talk about it next week. But if you've not, you have a week to see it before we record. You should, because he is absolutely amazing in it. And for someone who was quote unquote kind of disappeared from the movie scene and then come back, just amazing. He's still got it. He's always had it. It's awesome.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. So, congratulations to him there. And speaking of people that were, kind of off of the acting scene for quite a while, best actor in a leading role, that is Brendan Fraser from The Whale. Back to win. I loved seeing it here for all of the Brendan Fraser support. I had picked Austin Butler because I was going with my head here and not with my heart. But I should have went with my heart and my head because Brendan Fraser was incredible in The Whale. I don't know why I don't listen to myself sometimes, but congratulations to him. I loved he seemed so nervous up there on that stage giving that speech. It was incredible and I loved it, and I was so happy for him. Happy for him to be back. Hopefully this opens a million more doors for him to do other things and do whatever he wants now, because now Brendan Fraser, best actor in a leading role. Congratulations.
That's right. I can't say anything that you didn't just say. So this was the toughest competition, I feel, for us. We talked a lot about this last week. We were going back and forth. Is it going to be Michelle Yeoh that takes it home? Is it going to be Cate Blanchett? Is it going to be Michelle Williams? Who's it going to be? And Michelle Yeoh, to no one's surprise, I mean, looking at this list of the You Pick'ems, everybody said it was Michelle Yeoh, and they were all right. She took it home, looking stunning. Her speech was beautiful. I love when people talk about their parents and they thank them for all the things that they did to kind of get them where they are, especially in an environment like acting, because it's hard to watch as a parent because you're pretty sure your kid's going to throw their life away and starve to death. But this was really amazing. I was so glad that she got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, both thrilled for her. She was the queen of the evening. Absolutely. I think this was the most deadlocked on our Oscar pick. I think this had the highest percentage of people getting this one right. So Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere All at Once, lands the trophy for best actress in a leading role, rightfully so. And we're going to talk about how incredible she is next week as we talk about our best picture winner. Who won the top prize this year, Michaela?
Everything Everywhere All at Once won. And apparently it was no surprise. I think everybody in our Oscar pick'ems picked this. I mean, almost everybody did, which is crazy. There were so many good films this year. I mean, I really think that out of the 10, I think 9 of them, I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing, and this is totally going to win while I was watching it. And then you think of the whole scope of the 10 and you're like, oh, okay, this is really hard because they're all super deserving and really great. But yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's like the Cinderella story of a little kind of A24 kind of movie house film that was made. It was written for, it's interesting, it was written for a man and then it was rewritten for Michelle Yeoh, and she's amazing in it, and the whole story just comes together. And I don't know why we were surprised. By the end of the night, it was like, just give it to them already, because they'd already won 3 acting Oscars. They'd won best editing. They'd won best screenplay. I mean, of course, it makes sense for it to win.
That's right. Yeah, it won 7 Oscars in total for A24. The Whale also was an A24 film, so that's 2 more Oscars there. So it won 9 Oscars. A24 did last night. So a great showing from them. Kind of this little independent movie studio who does just some wild and incredible things by all accounts. And this was I don't know. It wasn't a surprise from a stance that, kind of the general consensus going forward was that this was going to win. But sometimes when that happens, you think that that's probably not going to be the case. And the Academy goes a different way, especially things that came out earlier in the year. And if you'll go back in your time machine, Michaela, with me, April 8th, this thing came out. I don't know, it came out on just like 100 movie screens, and then it just kept going and going and going for months and months and months. And I saw this closest soon-ish to release time. I went to the theater and saw it. And do you remember what I said, Michaela? I said, make sure you go watch Everything Everywhere All at Once because it's going to win all the Oscars. And it did win all the Oscars.
It did. You were right. And I didn't listen to you. I didn't listen to you when it came out in May. I didn't listen to you when it came out in the fall. I finally listened to you when it did get nominated for everything. And then I watched it and was like, wow, you're totally right. So in a way, Brian, you did win the
that's
Oscar
right.
pick'em.
I'm kind of like the manager of the Oscars. So if my team wins, if Drink the Movies wins, then I win. I think so. I get some partial credit for that maybe, but yeah, I mean, very excited. We love it when the film that we love the most and that we think is the best film both come together and win. That happened 2 years in a row. Now, Michaela, are we going to go for 3 in a row? Last year we got Coda. That was our heartfelt pick for last year. It won. This was our heartfelt pick for this year, and it won. So hopefully we can keep that streak going because it's always great when a film that everyone seems to universally really like wins the Oscar. So great job there. And we had a lot of fun doing our pick'em this year, Michaela. That was kind of the order we went in, by the way, if you're very confused as to why we went in that order. That was our Oscar pick'em order. So, Michaela, by my final tally here, you took 17 correct choices. So good job. That is really good, really good. I did not do quite so well. I had 12. That's okay. The average for our Oscar pick'em was 11. So I was above average. So I brought the average up a little bit, but someone really brought the average up because they got 18 right on our Oscar pick'em, Michaela. That means they only got 5 wrong. 18 is pretty good.
That is pretty great. And it we're going to be reaching out to them and getting them to send us their formal address so we can send them their swag bag. But before we do that, we do have an Oscar. There is one that was not discussed yesterday, and that is for Best Podcast Partner. And the Oscar for the Best Podcast Partner goes to you, Brian, because
it goes
you
to our
do
spouses for letting us watch movies that they don't want to watch.
That might be actually that might be true. That's Best Podcaster Spouse. That's the next one.
Yep.
But yeah, so thank you for doing all the work, putting together all the you pick'ems. I say to anybody who will listen that I do all the fun stuff, you do all the work, and you also have fun, but you do a lot of the work, a lot of the heavy lifting for Drink the Movie. So thanks very much, and for being the best podcast partner. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I accept this award on behalf of Drink the Movies and the Academy. So thank you very much for that. We did get to do some other fun stuff too. We did our Oscar pick'em again. We had the record turnout. This is our 3rd year doing it. It's grown every year, and we love seeing that. We love getting people's picks and having some chatter about what they think is going to win, stuff like that. That's always a good time. It's always fun getting the prize package put together. And this year was our first year doing it with our Patreon. It's patreon.com/drinkthemovies. We did a little recap, kind of mini episode about all the best pictures. That was a lot of fun. We did a Patreon hangout last night. That was a ton of fun. We did that. We talked about mixing up some cocktails, talked about the Oscars, talked about TV, talked about all sorts of stuff. It was just fun to hang out and connect with the people that are enjoying what we're putting out there. So loved doing that and loved doing the Oscars. And now I'm going to love not watching Oscar films for a minute, at least
for a little bit. Right. But dude, I know you're going to see something and you're going to do that same thing again. You're going to send me a text and be like, this is going to win all the Oscars. And I'm going to listen to you this year. I really think I'm going to try and listen to you more so that I'm not watching 54 films in 6 weeks. But we did it. I'm so proud of us.
We did do it. We got through all the films again. This year it was less of a sprint this year. We did much better, but yeah, happy to have kind of that time behind us. But all Oscar films are not behind us because we're going to be back next week to talk about this year's best film, Everything Everywhere All at Once. We're going to mix up a fancy cocktail for that, no doubt. We're going to have to find one of those to pair up with that. It's probably going to have some sort of everything bagel incorporated into it. I don't know. Can't be for sure. Maybe hot dog fingers. I don't know. Maybe not. Those are kind of grossing me out, but to be honest. So but we're gonna be back with our regular episode next week talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once. So you have a little over a week, because this is coming out early, I think, in theory. So you have a little over a week to go watch it, rewatch it, let us know what you think about it, hit us up on the social medias, let us know what you think about the Oscars, and we'll probably talk about that too. But I don't know, Michaela, the Oscars have come and gone. I'm tired. We were up late last night, and
yeah.
We had pizza, so that was good. You put out some nice charcuterie for us. I love that. So
we did. You made your amazing buffalo chicken dip, which is so great. We should just do that once for a lobby bar. We should be like,
Oh,
this is the hangover cure because it's real good for anybody that gets hangovers. No, it was really fun. It was a fun time. Really glad that we did it all and had a good time. It was good. And I'm gonna save all of the Oscar swag that we got in our box for next year. So that's even better.
that's right. Yeah, absolutely. We got the swag there, and we're going to get the swag sent out to the winner of the prize pick'em. So thank you everyone who took the time to enter that. We're blown away by the response we got and on social medias we got into our Oscars here. So thank you very much for that. Hopefully you enjoyed the 95th Oscars, and stay tuned. Next week we're going to be back with our regular episodes as we decompress a little bit from that. But I think we should sign off, Michaela, with the words of one Kehei Kwan. Dreams are something you have to believe in. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on
Drink
Drink
the
the
movies.
Movies.